Day 4 of the European Championships has just finished. We've seen a big shock result with the first game of the day today. We've also seen some very good performances from the likes of Belgium and France. Now, we are going to get into talking all about the performances and all about the results. But before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button and smash that like button to help push this channel to new people who want to enjoy Euro 2024 and football content for the foreseeable future. So let's now get into it. So we start off with talking about Romania's 3-0 thrashing of Ukraine. Now, this, in my opinion, is the first big shock of the European Championships, and Romania were absolutely outstanding in this game. Ukraine just couldn't quite get a grips of them, and the goals from Stanciu, Marin and Dragus were all incredible goals. The first one especially, like, the ball comes across and you just knew it was going in before he'd even struck it. It was such an excellent strike. It was a brilliant game to watch. And in my opinion, that is the first big upset of the tournament. Now, obviously, we'll get to taking a look at the lineups just now. And you might not recognise a lot of these players. Now, you will remember the likes of Zivchenko from Arsenal and Mudryk from Chelsea, maybe even Lunin from his time at Real Madrid, currently still there. Obviously, there's been a few rumblings about him as a result of Thibaut Courtois playing in the Champions League final. Now, Lunin did not have a really good game at all. It was a very difficult game for him, in my opinion. Made a couple of howlers, and the second goal he should have saved. I think the third one he should have saved as well. I think the first one comes from him giving the ball away. And for me, I don't think Ukraine ever really got settled in the game. I think they had moments, they had spells, but I just don't think they were ever good enough. Romania, on the other hand, incredible performance. Dennis Mann, what a performance he put in. And some of you may play Football Manager, and he has been a superstar on Football Manager, in my opinion, for the longest time. And seeing him perform on the big stage is absolutely incredible. The three of Dragos, Marin and Stanku picking up the goals. What incredible performances they put in. And I don't think it can be understated, the performance of Dragoson. I thought he was excellent today. I thought he broke out of defence well when he needed to. He won the ball well. He played well with the ball. And I think it's absolutely incredible what this Romania team have just done. And I say just, it was earlier on today. And you even look at the percentage of possession, the amount of shots. They were dominated in every category by Ukraine. Ukraine just weren't able to create any chances. And I think that's the biggest talking point. Now, we do look at the table for this group so far. You will see that Belgium did pick up a defeat against Slovakia. We'll get into that game in just a moment. But for me, I think it's massive to talk about this group. I think it's taken a very different turn to what I expected. I really thought your top two would be Belgium and Ukraine, and now it's looking like that may not be likely. So do get yourselves ready for a shock in Group E. Now, we do go on to take a look at Belgium versus Slovakia. A 1-0 win for Slovakia, scoring after 7 minutes. Now, a very controversial game. Belgium had, I think it was 2 goals disallowed for VAR reasons. One of them was a handball. I think one of them was offside. Both goals were scored by Romelu Lukaku. And the second one, I think, is very dubious. When you're running, your arms are higher than they naturally are, and he tapped the ball. It did help him, in a sense, control the ball, but for me, I think we've got to go back to obvious intention. I don't think he had any intention to touch the ball with his hands in any capacity, and I felt really bad because it was a really good bit of play. It was a really good breakaway, really good ball into the box. Excellent finish by Lukaku. Both of the goals were excellent finishes by Lukaku. The first one was offside, not really much to argue about with that one. But I do think Slovakia put in a really good performance, and that can't be understated. Obviously, I think Belgium were by far the better side. I think Belgium, realistically, obviously they lost the game, but I think they can be happy with their performance. Obviously, it's a knockout competition. if they don't win the next game, they're potentially out of the tournament. So obviously they'll be hoping to redeem themselves in their next game. I believe they play Romania next. Obviously, it's going to be really interesting because if Ukraine and Romania both win, if Ukraine and Belgium both win their next game, everybody's on 3 points heading into the final game. And obviously, if then everybody draws, it goes to head. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this group does go down. Obviously, if we do now take a look at the lineups for both sides, obviously this Belgium side is ridiculous. Like, it is genuinely ridiculous. Carrasco, Onana, De Bruyne, Lukaku, Trossard, Castagna. Now, they didn't... I don't know if they've even taken Courtois. Let's just have a look. Well, there's no Courtois listed. So, I think there's going to be a lot of talk about Courtois. He may not have even been selected. But for me, Castells was okay. Obviously, Courtois, brilliant goalkeeper. He's achieved the things he has in football, but he has spent a lot of this season out injured. I thought, is it Faz at centre back? I thought he had a fairly good performance. I thought De Bruyne could have done a bit more, but I think with this Belgian side, it's a literal typical Belgium. So much quality. Not as much expectation coming into this one, in my opinion, but so much quality and no end product. And I think that's what we saw again. Obviously, Lukaku put the ball in the back of the net twice, but neither counted. So it's one of them where you can't really argue the toss about the result, in my opinion. I do think Slovakia deserved the result. We will look into the stats in a moment. But for me, I just don't think Belgium... They got going. They were playing some really nice stuff. They just couldn't create anything that was legal. And that is the problem. And you've got to take your chances when they come. They did put the ball in the back of the net twice. Obviously, this is why we... It's one of the reasons why we have VAR. Because as much as it causes problems in the Premier League, don't get me wrong, in the hands of the right people, with the right rules in place, it is wonderful. And if we didn't have VAR, Belgium would have won today. They'd have won 2-1. And Slovakia probably would have been looking at an exit from the competition. But we have a shock. Another shock. And we nearly had 3, really, in the third game, which we'll get onto in a minute. And for me, I think there's a lot to talk about with this Slovakia side. I thought Dubravka was excellent, Skriniar excellent, Lobakata in the midfield, I thought he was brilliant as well. But if we do go to look at the stats, it's going to be another game, as you can expect. Belgium dominated, created the most chances. They missed 4 big chances in this game. Now, I'm unsure if those 4 big chances count for Lukaku's 2 goals. Because obviously I thought they were decent chances, but 4 big chances missed. And it's not what you want, is it? 1.9 XG to 0.59. Slovakia did their job. And it was, in my opinion, it was a really good goal. Goalkeeper save, parried it, players on side, slots it past the keeper. Really good finish, really good finish, in my opinion. If you have not seen it, do go over and check the highlights to that game. Obviously, if you want to see them, they are available on FootMob and on the ITV Sport YouTube channel. So for me, I think that's a massive shock. That's 2 shocks in the same day. We haven't had any so far in this European Championships, in my opinion. So there we have it. Slovakia winning, Belgium losing. What was the other one? Ukraine losing, Romania winning 3-0. It's been one of them tournaments where the teams that have got the results have deserved it. So, and I do think that's the same for this. I think Slovakia did deserve to win this game. I thought they defended excellently. I think the same with Romania. They were by far the better side in that game. Ukraine just never really got going. And then we go on to talk about Austria versus France. Now, I feel a bit bad for Austria, and especially the own goal scorer in Wobber, because I don't even know if that's how you say his name. You'll have to let me know in the comments section. But realistically, France had so many opportunities, didn't take them. Mbappe got clean through on goal at one point. Now, what I'd do to have a player with that pace at Derby County, but he just couldn't finish his dinner. I think he gave himself too much to think about, gave himself too much time, and that's a result of having so much pace. But obviously, France come away 1-0 winners. No shock in this one, but I think Austria were really unlucky in this game. I thought they defended really well. They created a fair chunk of chances as well. And if we do look at the squads, obviously the big talking point is no David Alaba. Obviously did his ACL this season. He is there. I believe he's there in like a coaching captain capacity. You did see him on the TV coverage, but it's one of those where I thought Austria were really good. I don't know how to say his name. This chap here, Seawold, thought he put in an excellent performance. And despite the rating for Sabitzer, I thought Sabitzer played really well as well, especially towards the back end of the game. We then obviously talk about this France side, and obviously you just look at the players on the list, and like, it's incredible the quality they have. Thuram, Mbappe, Griezmann, Kante, Dembele. That's not even talking about the defensive line with Koundé, Saliba, Theo Hernandez, Dayot Upamecano, and like, what? How? How does one nation have so many good players? And I do think it's crazy to see this team and to see it how it's developed over the years, and the trophies they've obviously won. Obviously came really close to winning the World Cup. I don't have any doubt in my mind that they will be in the semi-finals, really. I think it's quite simple. I do think they'll get there. And then it's a case of who is the other semi-finalist. That's going to be the real question. Obviously, if you haven't seen, Mbappe looks to have broke his nose in a challenge after a free kick. Referee, ball went out on the far side. Ref didn't let the subs on, so he just goes and sits himself on the pitch. Now, people are angry about his yellow card. It's completely deserved. He broke a law of the game. You can't enter the field without permission. He also just entered the field to disrupt play. Like, that's all he was doing. He just disrupted play so that they could get the subs on. And although I completely understand why he did it, I don't think it was his decision. I think he was told to by some of the coaching staff. But ultimately, you can't do that, unfortunately. And it is sad that the referee didn't do the subs, but that's just part and parcel of football. The referee controls the game. The referee controls the narrative, and that's what you've got to deal with. Now, a big thing to talk about in this game is N'Golo Kante. What an excellent performance. There's been a lot of talk about players who have moved to the Saudi League who sort of haven't quite had the exposure to the intensity levels of training in Europe and playing in European leagues or European competitions. And I think N'Golo Kante just shut all that down to a personal issue, really, because in my opinion, best player on the pitch in this game. Probably the best player of the day, in my opinion. Do they do a player of the day, man of the day, whatever it's called? I'd give that to N'Golo Kante because I thought he was excellent in this one. I think there's a lot that this France side need to learn from. Obviously, they've got to start taking their chances. If we do go up to the stats a second and go through, look, 14 shots, 2 XG, but they only had 3 shots on target. And this is where the problem is, especially with some of these bigger sides as well, against these lower nations, is if you don't take your chances and you concede, you're in a spot of bother. And will France have the same sort of turmoil that England have had over the past 24 hours? Will they be complaining about the results? I personally don't think so. I think France put in a performance which won them the game. They won't be complaining because they won. Whereas we put in a performance that won us the game and everyone spent the last 24 hours complaining. This is what Southgate should do. This is what he shouldn't do. So, for me, I think France were excellent. I think Austria played a really, really good game as well. In my opinion, Austria deserved something out of the game, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Now, we've seen all the games from this group. Obviously, the Netherlands winning 2-1 versus Poland and France beating Austria. So, it's going to be very interesting to see the fixtures tomorrow. If we do go and look at the matches tomorrow, we have Georgia and Turkey and Portugal and Czech Republic to close out the group games of the tournament. It's going to be really interesting to see. Does Cristiano Ronaldo start for Portugal? Obviously, he's getting to the latter stages of his career. How's Kvaratskhelia going to get on? Obviously, there's been a lot of talk with his agent recently through Fabrizio Romano, so it's going to be really interesting to see what's going on there. What's the situation at Turkey? They've been dark horses going into tournaments years on years on years and never fulfilled the expectation. Are they finally going to be that dark horse? And then obviously Czech Republic, what a nation. Are they going to be able to pick up some results in this group stage? Are they going to be able to get themselves through? Obviously, I think it's going to be a very, very interesting final set of the first round of group games. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. So if you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and smash the like button. Let me know your thoughts on Euro 2024 so far down in the comment section, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Make sure to go and find me on TikTok, pictured here, and Twitter, pictured here. These are the places where I'll keep you all up to date with all my upcoming videos and my thoughts and feelings around the Formula 1 and football weekend.